Thank you very much. Maraming salamat. At buwabati po sa inyong lahat. Please take a seat. We pray it doesn't rain. I'll speak short para tapos na bago umulan. Sana binigyan kayo ng MMSU o ni Governor Aimee ng tag-iisang payong nakatabi ninyo. Importante, laging handa. Hindi ba yun ang DRR, Disaster Risk Reduction or Preparedness? Yan. Hindi pa naman. Sabi ko, huwag muna silang tumulo dyan. So, naimbag gamalem tayo amin. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon to all of you. Dr. Shirley Agrupis, President of the Mariano Marcos State University, thank you very much for your hospitality, generosity of words. Governor Aimee Marcos, a longtime friend, Senator by next year, while I retire from the Senate after 3 terms. I've been in the Senate since 1998. I've been there for 20 years. Thank you po for mentioning all the laws that I have authored, whether it's for education, free college education. Ilan pa ba sa inyo ang nagbabayad ng matrikula? I don't want to see a single hand raised because under my watch, as your chair of the Committee on Finance, all students enrolled in state universities and colleges, local universities and colleges, state-owned tech-book institutions have free college education. Way back, they would say, sana nga libre ang kolehiyo gaya ng high school at grade school. Ang sagot ng iba, hindi kaya eh. Walang pondo eh. Nung ako'y naging chairman ng finance, sabi ko, kaya eh. Hahanapan ng pondo. At nasa katuparan natin, naging batas. I'm the principal author of that measure that will be signed into law this year. Even before it became law, since last year, you know that, I already funded it as chairman of the Committee on Finance with 8.5 billion, and this year with 40 billion pesos, so that every Filipino family can have their children set foot in college owned by the government, and every person who wishes to have technical vocational education or a college degree would have the opportunity if he or she may want it. And so, with the free college education, we somehow level the playing field. That is just one of the laws that I've enacted in my 20 years in the Senate, in my 3 terms, and I hope that legacy lives on. I hope and I pray that the senators after me, like Governor Aimee, who will join the Senate next year, would continue to put the necessary funds for free college education. Why am I saying that? Because even if there's a law, some laws, there are billions of pesos of laws which are not funded. So we need our leaders to fund all laws, especially the free college education. I'd like to greet the Board of Regents, Vice Presidents of the Mariano Marcos State University, all our local government heads, our mayors present here today, all the representatives and heads of government agencies, all our 2,553 graduates, to your parents and your grandparents and your siblings and your loved ones. Sa lahat po sa inyo, ako'y buwabati sa inyo. Yes, I have a 12-page speech. I will just email my speech to the school or put it up in my website or in Facebook, but I would like to speak from the heart. It's been how many years? It was in 1981 when I graduated cum laude from the UP Institute, not yet a college, of Mass Communications, martial law, when I entered in 1977. That was way, way back. I knew Aimee since we were in grade school, and Irene, her younger sister, yeah, younger, right? Although she may look younger than Irene. Yes, I knew them since the 60s. But it was in the 1981 when I graduated. Of course, the challenges of college life were different then, but then again, when you look back, maybe similar. So my message, perhaps, if I were to address a commencement in the 80s or 90s, would be similar now, even if challenges may have been different then. So, instead of reading my speech, I would like to focus on what you graduates expect out of life, expect out of your days, weeks, months, years after today. In everything we do, whether you are a local government official or in the academe, or a new graduate, or a national leader, or a teacher, importante po, follow your passion. May mga masters in renewable energy, may mga graduate in agriculture, meron sa edukasyon, sa iba't ibang field. It's important that you follow your passion. Because when you follow your passion and you do the career or the job that you enjoy most, you would not have to work a day in your life. I was blessed to know what I wanted to do ever since I was in grade school. I wanted to become a journalist because my late grandfather, Joe Bautista, was the editor-in-chief of Manila Times in the 60s and early 70s. I wanted to become a journalist. I would watch television. Of course, there was no social media then. And I would see those in the news, and my grandfather would tell me of how he would know the news ahead of everybody else. And I liked that innate curiosity. He would tell me, have the nose for news, the ear for rumor, which Aimee is very good at. I say it in a, okay, and have the eye for detail. Because when you have that, even in the military, that means you have very good intel network. It's always good to have that nose for news, the eye for detail, and the ear for rumor as a journalist. And so I followed my passion and I took up mass communications at the UP Institute, then Institute of Mass Communications, and graduated in 1981. You were perhaps not born yet, right? At the time? Yes, of course not yet. You're only in your 18, 19, 20, 21 then. And at the time, I also delivered the address among all graduates, and I was not sure what kind of career I would enter. And I was very fortunate that I was able to land into a career I enjoyed doing. From 1981 to 1998, when I ran and successfully won in a Senate seat, I was working in television as an anchor, as an executive producer, as a reporter, as a writer, hanggang tagabitbit ng tripod at ng ilaw, we would know everything. From makeup kit to script, to camera, to tripod, we would be everything. What am I trying to say? I took up the course that I wanted. I established myself in the field that I wanted. And I always say, when you work in a job that you enjoy doing, you would never have to work a day in your life. It was in 1997 when then President Fidel V. Ramos, I was interviewing him in the Rizal room in Malacanang. And he asked me, why don't you run for the Senate? I said, no. I was at the top of my career. I was enjoying. It was both fulfilling, at the same time, a very productive career. To make a long story short, he said, why don't you test the waters and try to run for the Senate? It was in the Ilocos region that I tested the waters. I think I first went to La Union and then Ilocos Norte or Sur, if I'm not mistaken. And the reception was quite good. And that's when I decided to throw my hat into the political ring, so to speak, in 1998, and left a flourishing career in television to become the youngest senator in 1998. There were some birth pains in politics, and for a time, I must admit, it wasn't easy for me because I was in a Senate that had Raul Rocco, Blas Ople, Marcelo Fernan, and Miriam Defensor Santiago, and Francisco Tatad, and many other luminaries and icons of the Senate of the Philippines. And so I was a young senator in 1998. It's been 20 years. I became the youngest majority leader at age 41. I became chairman of the committees of Agriculture, Environment, established the Committee on Climate Change, both through a resolution, and established the Commission on Climate Change by legislation. And for the past 3 years, chaired the Committee on Finance. And that's why I'm able to help you better with the Committee on Finance chairmanship. I think it was mentioned by our president of MMSU on the 150 plus 50, 200 million allocation for the MMSU for the biotech building and renewable energy center. What is the exact name for that? And I hope that will be established within the year. There are many more things that I did in 20 years, but this is not the time for that. What I'm trying to say is that first, follow your passion, because when you enjoy your career and your job, you don't have to work a day in your life. And even if you work at midnight, even if you work on weekends and on holidays, which I do. I was just telling the mayors how I work. They know ako, si complete staff work. Don't leave any stone unturned. Hindi pwede ang hindi pwede. Lahat kakayanin at gagawin ng paraan basta sa tama. You should be innovative, creative, and that's important to get things done. I look at public service as an ICU situation. That everything has to be, you have to be in your toes, that everything has to be addressed immediately. There's so many problems domestically and internationally and globally, and everything should be addressed at any one time. And so our leaders, both local and national, endeavor to address these issues. And so follow your passion in everything you do. You must be creative and innovative and strive for excellence. Hindi pwede yung pwede na, hindi pwede yung saka na, hindi pwede yung wala kasi or hindi kasi kaya. So, it's important to have discipline and the work ethic. And I must say, yes, my father and my mother disciplined me, and I owe them my life. But I would like to say that I am who I am today because of a great sacrificial person who was born in Ilocos Norte, who is from Hawaii. And that's my nanay, Feli. She's been with her family since the 1950s, before I was born. She was a household help of my father. And when I was born in 1960, my mother asked her to care for me as my mom was a working mom. I am 58 years old today, I don't hide it. In the 58 years, my nanay has been beside me, in front of me, by my side, protecting me, nurturing me, teaching me. So, when people look at me and say, she's so disciplined, she's so strict, yes, I am. The strictness and discipline of an Ilocano has been ingrained in me. And so, I am certain that most, if not all of you, have that very important Ilocano trait. Matipid, masinop, masipag, matyaga. That will set you apart from everybody else. And I think the reason why I excelled in my field in television is because I would go the extra mile. And it's because of my discipline. Discipline in terms of time, discipline in terms of resources, discipline in terms of everything I do. Work ethic. And that's what I try to teach my staff. All the staff, UP graduates from other SUCs, from different parts of the country, from different fields of discipline. Not everybody can stand me, not everybody can tolerate the complete staff work and the work ethic. Matira ang matibay. But those who can excel, those who can thrive and survive and become exemplary in the work they do, And why do I think this way? Because you elect me. You elected me number 1 2 times. You elected me on the third time number 2. Always number 1 in the Ilocos region. And so, bilang lingkod bayan, mahalaga na tutunghayan at bibigyan ng kahalagan ang bawat sulat, bawat request, bawat trabaho, bawat batas, bawat polisiya. Nabibigyan ng pansin ang lahat ng pangangailangan. Financial assistance ba? Scholarship assistance ba? Bill ba na dapat isabatas? Building ba na dapat itayo? O isa bang humihingi ng tulong na dapat matulungan? In fact, it is not our job to give projects or to help the needy. We are legislators and we're lawmakers. But I go beyond what is expected of me. And that is what all public servants must do. And so, the discipline is not only a matter of being on time and doing your work well, but going beyond the boundaries of what is expected of you and anticipate whatever is not expected of you so that you're able to solve problems even before they happen to be. And so, in everything we do, we should always look at the impact on our family, on our community, on our society, and on humanity. And what do I mean? Even in the laws I legislate, like the Ecological Solid Waste Management Law, the segregation of waste at source, recycling, and composting. That was way back in 1998 and enacted into law in 2001. It's been almost 20 years since the law was filed and created, but only 1/3 of local governments actually implement it. And why am I saying that? Because it's important that in everything we do, we look at the impact on our society. And if that law that was enacted 18 years ago was followed, then the problem of trash lights, of landfills, of microplastics, of micro beads, of waste in rivers and lakes would not be a problem. Then the Philippines would not be one of the top sources of plastic waste in rivers and waterways. Then we could be a prouder nation. There are many laws I've authored in the environment, whether it's the Clean Air Act or the Clean Water Act or the Ecological Solid Waste Management Law, Environmental Education Awareness Act, the Renewable Energy Law, of which Ilocos Norte is a model, with your wind farm and your solar farms, and being an outstanding province that espouses and actually implements the RE law. And I wish many other provinces would follow suit by maximizing renewable energy and actually banning the use of certain forms of fossil fuel, like your provincial government did on banning coal. I know this may be a topic that is not necessarily attuned to what 21-year-old graduates would like to hear, but I would just like to commend the visionary leadership of the province that has banned a certain kind of fossil fuel, coal, has promoted the use of renewable energy, and I hope that the other 79 provinces in our country could follow suit. Which shows that you belong to a great province. You belong to a great race. You belong to a great people in a university that is one of the most outstanding state universities and colleges in our country. I am told by Governor Aimee that your SUCs here are just as good and perhaps even better than private educational institutions. And that's how it should be. That's how it must be. And that's why we will continue to support our SUCs until such time that all SUCs have reached the level of excellence and standards. And I hope that our state universities and colleges would continue to collaborate and to converge with local government units so that we can have more projects in localities, in even far-flung LGUs that could benefit the people, whether they're indigenous people or rural folks, farmers and fisher folks, so that we can have projects that would actually impact on the lives and livelihood of our people, even in the hinterlands. So, on this day, our graduates, more than 1,500 graduates, it is a day of gratitude. It's a day of optimism. It is a day of looking forward and planning what to do for the rest of your life. Seize every opportunity and don't leave any stone unturned. And as you do so, make sure you follow what you want to do and follow your passion. But even if you have the passion, if you do not have the work ethic and the discipline and the social conscience, knowing the impact of the work you do to your community, then it would not be complete. And so, as you graduate today, as you look forward to your respective careers, learn to thank your parents, your professors, your deans, your teachers, your loved ones who have helped you. Even learn to give back to the state, to government, to your community. And in everything you do, make sure that we realize that the impact on our society, in our community, is part of who we are. I know that many of us have our dreams, our plans, our goals, and our objective, that we look forward to earning our keep so that we could save, so that we could go abroad, so that we could build a house, we could provide for our families. At a certain point in your career, you will get there, but you will also make sure that in everything you do, you will see how you're being a teacher, a new renewable energy expert, a farmer, a specialist in agriculture, in any field, how it could change the lives of the people around you. And so, I apologize for not reading my speech. It could have been better than what I told you today, but I decided to speak from the heart, to tell you about even just 1% of what I went through since the 1970s. I got into college in 77, graduated in 81, pursued journalism up to 1998, and I've been in the Senate for 20 years, leading the Senate by next year after 21 years, enacting legislation that impacted on the environment, hopefully helped the youth sector through the free college education law, protected the rights of women, youth, and children by enacting the Anti-Domestic Violence Act and the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act, helped children through the Anti-Child Labor Law, helped farmers through the Agri-Agra law, where banks are mandated to lend to farmers and agrarian reform beneficiaries at least 25% of their loan portfolio, helped micro-enterprises through my MSME law, helped 4th, 5th, and 6th class municipalities through my Barangay Kabuhayan law that is supposed to create training institutes in 4th to 6th class municipalities, helped climate resilience through the People's Survival Fund and the Climate Change Act, and many, many more. And so, I speak to you as someone who has not lost her passion. I speak to you as someone who has tried to exercise discipline and work ethic. I speak to you as a 3-term senator who has tried to give and use my skill, my talent, my know-how, my knowledge, so that it could impact favorably on my community, on humanity. And so, on this day, congratulations to all our graduates, congratulations to your parents, and if there's anything I can do for our graduates, maybe 1, 2, or 3 outstanding graduates who can take my work ethic and apply in my office, and if there's anything I can do for the MMSU, apart from the biotech allocation, I would be more than happy to continue to help an outstanding academic institution. Congratulations, mabuhay kayong lahat.